On the morning of October 19 last year, inside the Galerie des Paulins at the Louvre, visitors were still quietly admiring the diamond-covered crowns. Suddenly, the sound of a chainsaw came from the second floor, followed by shattering glass. In just 4 to 8 minutes, someone stole 8 priceless pieces of French crown jewels from the Napoleonic era, worth about $102 million. This is what we're talking about today, the 2025 Louvre Heist of the century. So how did they get in? What did they steal? Were they caught? And where are those priceless jewels now? 1. Priceless treasures from the Napoleonic era. First, how valuable were these jewels? The Galerie des Paulins at the Louvre is a golden hall designed for Louis XIV. Inside are the last crown jewels of the French royal family. These aren't ordinary accessories, they're historical pieces worn by queens of the Napoleonic Empire and the Bourbon dynasty in the 19th century. The 8 national treasures stolen include the sapphire set of Queen Marie-Amélie and Queen Hortense, a crown, a necklace, and 1 earring. A wedding gift Napoleon gave to his second wife, Marie-Louise, an emerald necklace and a pair of emerald earrings. A large bow brooch Napoleon III gave to his wife, Empress Eugénie, a pearl and diamond empress crown, and an empress crown set with 1,354 diamonds and 56 emeralds. And a mysterious reliquary brooch. Every gemstone had witnessed the glory of empires and the fall of dynasties. The French Ministry of Culture said, "These are fragments of French history that can't be measured in money." And what's surprising is this. The Louvre's most valuable jewel, the 140-carat Regent diamond, was right next to them, yet they didn't take it. Was it because they ran out of time, or did they leave it on purpose? 2. 4-minute lightning raid. Now let's look at how the thieves pulled it off. On the morning of October 19th, 4 thieves dressed as maintenance workers and parked a truck carrying a German Bucker lift right by the Seine. Using the lift arm, they climbed straight up to a second-floor window of the museum. Then, they used an angle grinder to cut the glass. At that moment, the museum alarm went off, but they didn't care. They rushed into the gallery and used a chainsaw to cut open the bulletproof display case, moving with the kind of precision that looked heavily rehearsed. The whole operation inside the museum took less than 4 minutes. After grabbing the jewels, they jumped back onto the lift, reached the ground, got on 2 motorcycles, and disappeared into the streets of Paris within 30 seconds. In the rush, they dropped Empress Eugénie's crown. It was later found on the sidewalk outside the museum, badly deformed, and one of the golden eagle decorations was missing. French Culture Minister Rachida Dati said, "This was a highly experienced team." Some people might ask, where was Louvre security at that moment? Ironically, when the alarm went off, the guards ran in the wrong direction, and the case exposed long-standing security flaws at the Louvre. 3. France got slapped in the face. After the heist, French police and Interpol moved quickly. In less than a week, 2 suspects from Seine-Saint-Denis were arrested, both with prior theft records. One of them was caught at Charles de Gaulle Airport while trying to fly to Algeria. Later, several more accomplices were arrested. But the most important thing, the 8 stolen jewels, is still missing. Some experts believe these historical pieces are too famous to sell directly to museums or collectors. Their most likely fate is being dismantled into loose diamonds and gemstones, then moved through black markets in Eastern Europe or the Middle East, used for money laundering or hidden in private collections. Is there a powerful figure behind this? How big is this black market empire? No one knows. Afterward, the French government immediately moved the remaining crown jewels into the vaults of the Banque de France for strict protection. As for the 8 stolen pieces, the French may never see them again. We tend to think the Louvre is one of the safest museums in the world. But this crown heist showed how quickly it can all fall apart, and it left France embarrassed once again, because this isn't the first time. 4. The Museum Insider. The Mona Lisa theft. Yes, the world's most famous painting, Mona Lisa, was once stolen. It's also one of the most outrageous and dramatic thefts in art history. At the time, the Mona Lisa was relatively unknown, not yet the superstar it is today. The theft is what made it an overnight sensation. On the night of August 20, 1911, an Italian immigrant, Vincenzo Peruggia, snuck into the museum and spent the night in a storage room near the Salon Carré. He had once worked there as a handyman installing protective glass frames, so he knew the museum inside out. The next day was a closed day. Peruggia took advantage of the empty gallery and removed the Mona Lisa from the wall. At that time, the painting was held up by just 4 iron nails, no other protection. He wrapped it in his white work coat, walking out boldly like he was carrying a newspaper. But the exit door was locked. Luckily, a passing plumber offered to open it for him with a key. Peruggia left the Louvre completely openly. The entire theft took less than 10 minutes. It wasn't until the day after the theft that Louvre staff and visitors noticed the empty spot on the wall. At first, everyone thought the painting had been sent to a photographer for pictures, but once it was confirmed stolen, the museum erupted in chaos. Although the painting wasn't very famous yet, it was still a national treasure for the French. The Louvre immediately announced a closure, and the French president offered a huge reward. Police searched all of Paris, even arresting the poet Guillaume Apollinaire and Picasso, because Guillaume's assistant had once stolen several small sculptures from the Louvre, and Guillaume helped sell them to Picasso. Once the news spread, media around the world reported daily. Many thought it was a national conspiracy or an art world scam, and endless theories circulated. Visitors crowded around the empty wall to take photos, boosting the Mona Lisa's fame exponentially. But the painting remained missing until a breakthrough happened 2 years later. 5. Perugia, hero or thief? After stealing the Mona Lisa, Perugia took it back to his apartment and hid it under a wooden trunk. For 2 years, he ate and slept with the painting beside him, proudly believing he was taking revenge for Italy, because he thought Napoleon had stolen the painting from Italy. Although he always claimed it was out of patriotism, his real motive wasn't that simple. At the end of November 1913, Perugia couldn't take it anymore. He wrote to a Florence antique dealer, Alfredo Geri, offering to return the painting to Italy for a payment of 500,000 lire. At the time, that amount of money could buy dozens of houses, which clearly didn't match his claim of patriotism. Geri was suspicious, but he pretended to agree. On December 10th, he met Perugia at the Hotel Tripoli in Florence with Giovanni Poggi, director of the Uffizi Gallery. After examining the painting, they confirmed it was the original. But they knew this was serious. So while pretending it needed further verification, they secretly called the police. Perugia was arrested on the spot. In January the next year, the Mona Lisa was returned to the Louvre in France. The French celebrated the return of their national treasure like they were welcoming a queen. Only then did the Mona Lisa truly rise above countless masterpieces to become #1. Perugia, meanwhile, was treated by many Italians as a national hero. In the end, he served only 7 months in prison. After his release, he even fought in World War I. In 1925, Perugia died of a heart attack on his 44th birthday. He never could have imagined that more than 100 years later, a new group of successors would appear inside the Louvre. Heist update. As of now, last year's Louvre jewelry heist is still under investigation. French President Macron has vowed that the criminals will be brought to justice. So, do you think the jewels will ever be found? Where do you think they'll end up? Alright, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to my channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.